Feedback is one of the key elements of learning. It promotes the opportunity to assess, reflect and rethink for better understanding.
Jamie was the first person, and she was just outside the circle. Okay, let's get our screens up earlier. It's not, we're not doing any flash things or anything. It's not rocket science. Just get
it's really good for her to give us feedback, so we know what we're doing wrong, or we know what we should, what we are doing right, so we know how to improve our game.
What's the guard position? Straight back.
Yeah, she'll never completely trade you in the ground, completely put you down. She'll never do that. She'll always be constructive criticism. It will always be that. It will never be anything that will make you not want to get back out on the field.
So Jenny, we're just going to have a look at your positioning. So in here we've got Jamie, who's your other fullback, out here, and Lydia out here, and Queensland have got the ball.
I've been using Game Breaker now for about 2 or 3 years, and so now I don't coach without it.
And so here they have now eliminated Lydia, who's our right half. Okay, so one of our defenders has now been eliminated. So now, what do you reckon your job is here?
Well, Jamie doesn't really know what's going on behind her, so I should tell her to step up. I should tell her to make the tackle outside the circle, so definitely release her and tell her to make the tackle, step up.
Yep.
Yeah, and I need to definitely move to cover her.
Yep.
Being able to see themselves is really important, because a lot of players don't actually understand what's happening out there. They don't realise, they're not thinking about it, and that kind of thing. So they need to think about what's happening out there. They need to understand why we might be doing something.
They've got right into the circle without even having a stick laid on them.
From the sideline.
From the sideline. So not flash hockey, is it?
Not really set like that.
Yeah. Talk about put ourselves under pressure. Okay, so Jamie backs back, and now this skill's come right into play, and you and Jamie have been caught flat.
Yeah,
okay?
I definitely needed to have shuffled
around
more.
there. We should have nailed them.
Should have got to that stage.
Yeah. You need to be honest and upfront. You need to be fair. You need to be certainly transparent. I don't necessarily think I need to be their friend. I'm happy if they want to be, but I don't go out of my way to be everybody's friend. And you have to be caring. You have to care about your athletes as well. You have to look after them. You have to make sure that they're given the best opportunity that they can be given.
That positive feedback all the time, was obviously the players enjoyed the feedback too. They believed that, there was honesty in the feedback.
Well, she moved up and down the spectrum, didn't she?
Yeah,
she went from instruction to questioning and back.
And knowing too which players are going to, and it would have been hard for her not knowing them that well, but recognising that some don't mind the criticism publicly, but knowing too that sometimes that's not good for players, that you need to take them aside.
The other thing I loved was, the video session was the what happens next scenario, which promotes real understanding. So not only that, what would you want others to do around you? Because sports, it's an uncertain environment, it's always changing, you've got lots of people making different decisions. So she's trying to get some synergy there with the girls, so that they understand what they should be doing there, but also what others should be doing. So it's a team decision making, or a unit decision making.
Yeah.
The interesting thing was, it wasn't what could you do next, but what could we do better in that scenario as well, which I think is a really big learning curve.
I think the challenge is when you're looking at video and you're working through that analysis and checking their understanding and decision making, is that they then can transfer it out on the field, because some players and athletes are very astute and can look at it on the footage, and that next step is, I think, the test of their understanding, if they can then apply it, and the coach being able to say, well, this is what you saw and how you responded and your comments and when you watch it on video. Now let's see if we can transfer it and under pressure in the real situation.
Great work. So just take it back to that situation with Tony again. Just drop it in. Tony turns his back. As he turns his back now, do we need to drop? Okay, so just be aware now, although you're holding a line, there's the opportunity to pressure them and force them where? Further back, away from your goal. So think about that. The rewind, we always say, let it run on. So you've seen a moment, let it run on a phase, so you can see what the outcome was, and then rewind it back 2 phases, back to when the session broke down. So just something simple, you know, press the rewind button before you start coaching. Because if you don't rewind it, you don't create the situation or the picture that was actually there at that point. And the players are quite used to it, so they'll get into the right positions. But for novice coaches, you've actually got to work pretty hard to, right, where were you again? You weren't there, were you? Come on, rewind it back, think back where you were, and just getting them back into a habit of that. So rewind just helps you paint the picture and let them see what maybe you've seen as a coach, or let them see something completely different that you didn't see.
Sometimes for novice coaches, understanding when the coachable moment is, when to actually intervene, and I liked that use of that rewind, but I felt he checked that by getting their feedback, so the less experienced coach wouldn't necessarily have to be perfect in their recollection of the situation, but to actually engage their players to do it for them.